Okay, let's talk through the escalation challenge of Odin level 15. Let's start by talking about Odin himself. Odin is kind of like a physical Bahamut in that he is going to have a bar that you have to break. He's going to count down from 5. Difference being is that Mega Flare is magic, whereas this is physical. So as you can see here, he's got wind element physical attacks. So you're going to need to be able to do physical earth damage on him. Um, and so we have to build basically wind resistance, physical earth DPS, and then just a lot of physical defense and HP if you can find it. So I am not really running a very strong team here. I have this Yuffie. She is rocking her original outfit because it has literally 1 point of physical defense. If you look at my stats here, the other 2 costumes I have don't really give me anything. So the extra 8 points of physical defense is literally all I'm getting. I am running an OB7 Hawkeye in order to get some damage. It's branded like you might expect. It's a good brand, but like nothing like crazy. It's just pretty straightforward. And then I'm using this Razor Ring as my backup, or as my sub weapon. Bahamut Cutter, Bird of Prey. If you've got any of those, you're going to do much better. This does have 52 points of Earth potency, so I'm using this even though there's a dead stat in magic attack, because I don't have anything better that I could really offer. My Yuffie is really not very good. I am running her basic ultimate weapon. I don't have Conformer. You'd have probably a lot more DPS options if you were running Conformer. And then I've just got strong materia. I do have very good materia. This is a 13% physical attack, but the other 2 are this earth potency. So basically with these, best way to think about them is just to add together the attack stat and the earth potency. So this one here is basically about a 12% physical attack materia, and this one is about a 13%, just the 11 plus the 2. For sub weapons, I do need wind resistance, so I am running probably the co-MVP of my run is this rubber band gun that gives me physical defense and wind resist. I've got this at OB8 120 because it gets that 30 points that lets me get this 20% wind resistance. Then I'm also running my other MVP, which is this OB10 Sequoia Dendron. This is the other weapon that has 52 points of earth potency and gets me my physical attack as well at a level 7. If you don't have an OB10 Sequoia Dendron, this is actually my only OB10 Angeal weapon. You could look at any number of physical potency weapons, and that would probably be just fine. And then I'm running Mad Minute because it's got that physical potency that lets me get to level 4, which gives me an extra 45%. So when I look at my build, I've got max physical attack. I've got Earth Potency level 9. This is more than you want, honestly. You'd like to get this to level 8 because it's kind of a wasted stat. You can see it goes 15%, 15%, and then it only goes 10% up. So you could think of level 8 as a soft cap. And then what else do I have here? I've got HP level 3. Ideally you'd have more, but it is what it is. And then I've got that level 3 wind resist. So her stats come out to 300 physical defense. You might wonder how, and that's coming from my other 2 guys. Other 2 builds are not as interesting. Angeal has a ton of physical defense and HP. That's because of Stalwart Integrity, which has a lot of HP stat. This is going to do physical defense and physical attack up. And then I've got this OB7 Shinra Greatsword. This is going to do an Earth Imperil up to high. When I first beat this, I'd only had this OB5. I was able to beat it with a double casting it, basically. But ever since they've been giving us tons and tons of tickets, I've gotten it up to OB7. You might think, well, this is a crazy amount of physical defense, but actually the only physical defense stat I'm getting is from this base FF6 costume, and then from his ultimate weapon. Everything else is just branding and just all the physical defense alls that I have. So I've got I've got an attack all allies, and this gives me extra buff, debuff extension as well. And then I've got this physical defense all, and I've got a physical attack all as well. So, Yeah, he's basically just there to support the others in terms of he's going to take all the hits because he has the most HP. He's got a ton of physical defense, so he doesn't need wind resist. And then going over to Matt. And one more thing. I am running his Serret Arbore's limit. You'd like to use Ad Astra, but it doesn't charge very well. If you're doing a higher level run, you might need that in order to survive, but in this case I don't need it, so I'm just using this so I can get a triple summon off. For Matt, he's running Centipede for his heal, and then he's got this Slick Beetle that does physical attack down to high. I'm using him instead of Aerith because I don't have Camera Wand. I don't have another way to get a physical attack down to high, so that's what I'm using. If you had a different way to get physical attack up, you might use Angeal's two-hander that'll let you do physical attack down, but I don't have that, so I'm basically just running this Matt. He's also got a Breach. This is just for just a little bit of extra damage. I didn't originally need this for level 15, but I've added it into my run for higher levels as I try to get up to level 20. For sub-weapons, he's got 2 physical defense alls. These are, one's OB9 110, the other one's OB7 110. This is so that he gets to he gets to 35 points of physical defense all, which will get him that 40%. These 2 characters are basically entirely trying to make my DPS survive in order to get enough damage on her in order to be able to break the bar. And so I'm using, again, a short limit charge in order to make sure that I can get it off along with my summon. Matt doesn't do a ton of moves. He's mostly healing, so there's that. And so the only other thing to mention is that if you look at Yuffie here and I go to rolls, I have not done any of the overspeed stuff. She's still just basic. I'm holding on to that for the guild battle. So this is pretty basic run, kind of almost like a free-to-play run, because of the fact that I'm not really using any limited weapons. The only ones I'm really using are those physical and attack alls, and you can swap them as appropriate. If you've got a Daffodil, or you've got, whatever, Bahamut Greatsword, those will all be good. And let's get into the run. So this run is pretty straightforward. Basically, you have the damage or you don't. The beginning's important, and there's a couple of nuances, but gonna get Fortress Guard in play here. Gonna lower his physical attack, and I'll just get a hit in with Yuffie. I'll breach him for fun, and then I'll go over to Angeal, because Angeal, being the highest HP, is the one that's gonna get stopped. So here, before he gets stopped, I'm going to get this Earth Imperil in play. Going to heal. And then here, you could break the sigils. I don't bother. I'm going to wait for my bar to charge, and then I'm just going to go in with damage. Going to heal with... Now going forward, this is really just do as much damage as you can. His attacks do physical defense down, so I'll try to keep that up, but it's not super important. The real important thing is to make sure that my my attack up is in play. Shortly after the Shimmering Blade, he's going to do a stop move on Angeal. So make sure you've got your buffs in play. I just got up my Earth Imperil up again. Now I've got my summon. I'm going to not use it intentionally until I can use them all together. Okay, now I'm going to wait until he gets this Allfather's move off before I do my summon. Make sure my buffs are in play. I'm going to get this ultimate in play for extra summon damage. Okay, here it is. I'm going to summon. Then I'll activate this overspeed. I don't really know the right way to use this, but I'm still learning that. But the summon's probably going to break the bar. Now I'm just going to go a little crazy with my damage. Now from here I really need to make sure I get all my buffs in play. This is the hardest part of the fight. This AoE attack I'm about to deal with, you have to make sure your buffs get up. And I'm going to use every resource I have to make sure that happens. Okay, here it goes. I'm going to use my ultimate here. I'll use my physical attack down to make sure that's in play. And we'll block. And if I've got all my buffs in play, I will survive this hit just barely. Okay. Let me get my heal in play. Now it's just a race against the clock. Just got to make sure I get my damage in. Block in some hits just to be 100% sure. And this should be over. Just need one more hit. And that should be everything. Nice and easy, right? So that's how I take on stage 15. You can do stage 16 with this kind of a build, but I think you're probably going to need OB10 or an Earth Arcanum if you're going to look at 17 or above. And you've got basically 2 months to do this, so there could be some new limited weapons that come help out with this. A new physical Earth weapon is probably coming. Or you can just, as you get all those tickets, power up your guys to have enough strength. So good luck.